That's what the story's about. It's about trust. It's about what happens when people betray trust. And I think every one of us here sits here in pain about that.
I attempted suicide 3 times.
And you're sure it was this?
This, there was no question. When the memories came back, I wanted to die more than ever.
And when we come back, some answers to the questions: where were the parents? Where was the church? And where is Father Porter?
Still ahead, a land giveaway that sounds too good to be true. But it is, and you're footing the bill. Also, advertising fiascos. Can they be turned around? But next, parents react to their children's ordeals.
We said to our son, "I'm sorry we weren't there for you to protect you."
As Frank Fitzpatrick tracks down their abuser.
Hello, Mr. Porter? I'm speaking. Hi, this is Frank Fitzpatrick.
And Primetime finds him too.
Mr. Porter, may I speak with you?
When Primetime continues.
It's time to save big on Goodyear all-season radials for cars and light trucks. Buy 3, get the 4th free. Hurry, save big, and see why we say the best tires in the world and in your neighborhood have Goodyear written all over them.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Don't ignore your sensitive teeth. Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing. Could lead even to tooth loss.
Thanks, Sensodyne.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain of sensitive teeth.
Yeah. The very first time I ate Equal. It's such a personal thing. I put it in my cereal, I put it in my iced tea, I put it on half a grapefruit. I think that people don't realize how much sugar they eat. You're more concerned about what you put in your car than what you put in your body. There's sugar, there's the pink stuff, and there's Equal. You have those 3 choices.
Equal has the great taste of NutraSweet and no saccharin.
When I sit down to make a choice, I choose Equal.
Your routine, rugged, grueling, day after day. It's even harder when athlete's foot routinely comes back. But today, there's prescription strength Lotrimin AF. Many types of fungus can cause athlete's foot. But Lotrimin AF is a broad spectrum medicine, so it kills them all. No wonder it's the brand most recommended by doctors. So while there's no finish line for you, there is for your athlete's foot. Lotrimin AF.
Dixie wants to remind you, not all paper plates are as strong, soak-proof, and cut-resistant as ours. Dixie paper plates. Dish it out. We can take it.
Tension headaches this bad need a pain reliever this good. New extra strength Darnitol with Ease a Migraine.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going.
What happens to your car if it's stolen? Our hidden cameras catch car thieves in action and watch them getting caught in the act.
On the ground! Please, on the ground!
2020, Friday.
A world-class field with crisp night air and Bislett. The world record could take a beating. The Dream Mile live Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
30 years ago, many of the parents of North Attleboro knew nothing about the daily nightmares their children faced. The children were ashamed, afraid to tell them. In a sense, those parents were victims too, not just of one priest, but a church that protected itself from scandal and seemed to show little pity for the children. Sex offenders in the church were rarely given up for prosecution. You'll see now what happened when some parents in that devout Massachusetts community asked their church to stop Father Porter, a man who reportedly even molested children with their parents nearby at home.
He came into my house, into my bedroom, with my parents on the other side of the wall, not even a door blocking the room, just an archway, and he would come in and sit on my bed and take my hand and put my hand down his pants. I couldn't get away from this guy.
That's Peter Calderon. This is his father, Joseph.
My wife insisted I not come this evening on account of my health. And I said, no, dear. I said, I couldn't live with myself. Knowing perhaps I could have done more in the past, after all these years, I said, I will not sit back now.
But Joseph Calderon did try 30 years ago when finally he suspected something was wrong. he tried to get help dealing with Father Porter from that other priest at the parish, Annunziato.
I put it right to him. I believe he's molesting the boys. Well, you know, you people must understand, he's human. I said, Father, you have the wrong. You forgot to put a prefix in there. He's inhuman.
Finally, in 1963, Calderon and a handful of other parents, each thinking they were alone, forced the bishop to move James Porter out of North Attleboro, only to discover now that the church simply placed him in a neighboring parish, Fall River, and then another one, New Bedford, where hundreds more children were available over the next 4 years.
They saved the children of North Attleboro, at least after a few hundred, they saved the children of North Attleboro, and then they damned the children of Fall River and subsequently New Bedford by sending them to them.
And critics say that's exactly the pattern of the Catholic Church over the years. According to one private study, as many as 6% of American priests may have trouble with pedophilia. That's 3,000 priests. Yet, in the past, the Church has simply moved many of them from place to place, paying out huge sums in private court settlements to the victims, hoping, above all, to keep the whole thing hidden. The Church has paid out $400 million in legal fees since 1985, with the prospect of $1 billion.
The settlements I've heard of have been quite large, yes.
The Vatican Embassy refused our request for an interview. Only Father Kenise Connors, a psychologist and member of the National Catholic Conference of Bishops, would talk with us about why the Church moved Porter near children in other parishes all those years ago. What can possibly forgive that decision?
I can't think of anything would forgive it. All I can possibly put forward is the fact that at that time we know so little about the problem. At that time we had no idea of the extent.
But do you have to know about the problem in a sort of sophisticated way to know that this man is dangerous to children?
No, I don't think you need it in any sophisticated way.
Father Annunziato. They want to know why you didn't protect them. There at the time, according to at least 3 of the people we talked to, walked in and saw exactly what was happening, shut the door, and did nothing. What should be done to him?
If it is true, then he was in collusion. If it's true, I think you'd have to answer now why he did that then. I don't know. That's very hard to hear.
In the meantime, even though the Church was still shutting every door in his face, Frank Fitzpatrick refused to give up on his search for James Porter. He finally got Porter's middle initial and Porter's father's name, William. Then one day, as he was poring through old newspaper files, he found in a newspaper an obituary. William Porter had died, the article said, leaving behind a son, James, who lived in Oakdale, Minnesota. So Fitzpatrick, private investigator, called information and got the telephone number, and then set up his tape recorder.
The decision to call Porter was really a decision to call his wife, to warn her to watch out for, and see if their children were being abused by him.
Porter had left the priesthood in 1967 and married. Since 1974, he'd been a house husband and tutoring children at a local church. He also has 4 children of his own.
Hello, can I speak to Mrs. Porter, please?
Hello?
With his heart pounding, Frank Fitzpatrick said he had news about her husband.
But back in 60 to 63, he was at St. Mary's Church in North Attleboro, and I was at the neighboring grammar school, and back at that time, he sexually molested a number of children. Have you heard anything of this before?
No. I don't believe you anyway.
You don't believe me?
No.
Father Porter picked up the telephone and clearly knew the topic.
Hi, this is Frank Fitzpatrick.
Yes?
From North Attleboro.
Yeah?
I just recalled some of the things that went on in North Attleboro. It just came back to me this past year and a half or so. My concern was whether you had received any treatment for your problem.
Yeah?
One question, why did you do that kind of thing?
Who knows?
I mean, was it done to you as a child or something? Or?
No, that's the thing.
He said he was sorry.
I had to put that into his head. I had to ask him if he was sorry. I don't think he was sorry at all.
So several months later, Frank Fitzpatrick dialed that phone number again.
Hello, Mr. Porter? Oh, speaking. Hi, this is Frank Fitzpatrick calling again. I'm the one who called you back in February. Oh, yeah.
Fitzpatrick asked Porter about that trip 30 years ago and the piece of mincemeat pie that had knocked out a little boy.
I don't know if it was alcohol or drugs or what. Oh, if it's anything, no, it probably... Now, the only thing is I know one thing, and it's still my favorite, is mincemeat. It has a rum in it. It gives a different flavor. There were a couple of girls that I heard you molested, too. Not that I know of. No? That's not the... When did you stop molesting children? When did you stop? Well, as far as I know now, I mean, for sure, it's way back in the... 67. 67? Okay.
1967. That was when additional complaints from the parents in New Bedford finally led to his departure from the priesthood. The church had sent Porter for therapy to this retreat in New Mexico, though no therapy was offered to his victims.
Even though doesn't sound like it, my voice, I do have this extreme anger toward you for what you did to me. I don't blame you, yes. And my concern is that this might be another act, and that you might be molesting your own children or their friends or their friends. No, you could even check with my wife, and that is nothing. It would be, geez, it would have come out, Yeah. And the family. I mean, it's been absolutely outstanding. I mean, I just thank God every day that what has taken place so far. It doesn't mean I don't have to struggle once in a while. I don't think I don't have recollection. I always got to look back and remember, my God, what happened. I mean, actually, how I got to look back, how fortunate I was that I didn't get creamed. Like, I just think to myself, I mean, it just doesn't know how would I react if anyone, touched my kid. I'd be so damn pissed.
At this point, Mrs. Porter picked up the telephone and said her husband had confirmed what Fitzpatrick had said.
Yes, he told me all about it after his call.
Okay. Okay, that's all I really wanted to talk to you.
Quite a shock.
Excuse me, yeah, it is quite a shock, I imagine, yeah. So, I'm just hoping that he's cured of that, that's all.
Oh, there's no signs or anything.
No signs of any problems now?
Mm-mm.
We say the family rosary every day, okay? Okay. I don't know if that still means anything to you or not. I hope it does. Did your wife discuss it? I just tell him I got a friend I want remembered, okay? That will include you in it, but hoping that, like with me, none of us can get through anything without the grace of God. I know that.
After that phone call, James Porter admitted to a television reporter that he had probably molested 50 to 100 children. His victims scoff, saying that's just a fraction of the real number. And their constant fear is it didn't stop when he said it did.
You know, he said in the tape that nothing has happened, that leaving the priesthood was a kind of cure for him.
Some people held this.
If you talk to the experts around pedophilia, it is a non-curable disease.
If you get that apology, will that give you all peace?
No.
He's got to be put away. In jail. Treatment in jail.
Not a curable disease.
Diane, as far as I'm concerned, Porter committed murder.
No.
He psychologically murdered every one of us when we were 10, 11, 12 years old.
So the former children of St. Mary's School are determined to get action, even though so far every road has been a dead end. They turned to the Rhode Island district attorney, but just today he cited technicalities in the law and said he won't be doing anything. And the church?
Well, the church must always be the healing agent. I mean, the law is there to enforce the law, and we should never impede that. But
Do you understand? These people say, excuse me, but they say they can't be healed until their church is fighting for them.
And I think we are. I think we are beginning to.
And yet, when Fitzpatrick first went public, Cardinal Bernard Law of Boston responded by attacking the messengers, the media.
By all means, let's call down God's power on the media.
So if the church wouldn't do it, we decided to go to Minnesota to see if we could get James Porter to say something.